What's really interesting about this is how pain, something we try so hard to avoid, can actually be the thing that shapes us into who we are meant to be. Think about it. Pain is like a hammer striking a hot iron, molding it into a weapon of purpose. I'll be honest, I had more than just moments in my life where I thought pain was an enemy, a force that only brought suffering and setbacks. But as I look back, I realized that pain has also been my greatest teacher. Today, we're diving into Vinland Saga and how Thorfinn's journey from revenge to self-discovery reveals the power of pain in transforming our lives. Vinland Saga doesn't just tell a story of war and vengeance, it's a deep emotional journey of a boy who loses everything only to find meaning in what remains. And when I say everything, I mean it's bad. I spent hours analyzing Thorfinn's evolution, breaking down the pivotal moments where he learns to redefine his existence. If you ever felt lost in your struggles, stuck in the weight of past mistakes, or unsure how to move forward, this episode is for you. Because pain isn't just something to survive, it's something that can guide you to your purpose. If you want to know how to turn your suffering into strength, I'm so glad you're here, Zenroku family. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to grow with me on this journey of self-discovery and mastery. Pain has tested me in ways I never expected. There were times I questioned if it had any meaning at all. Have you ever felt like the hardships in your life were just random sufferings with no lesson or purpose? If you have, you're not alone. Welcome to Momentum Mondays on the Zenroku Podcast Network. I am Michael Yerby, your personal development expert and anime junkie on this odyssey, and I want you to show your support by hitting the subscribe, liking, and sharing this episode with friends and family you know that needs it. Last week, we explored why Mizano Koku is the ultimate patience and love masterclass. We broke down how Goldi's persistence in love and life teaches us the power of patience, persistence, and dedication. We talked about why personal growth is essential in relationships and how real love isn't about perfection. It's about commitment and trust over time. If you missed it, be sure to check it out. It was a long and wonderful journey. What we will discuss today is how Vinland Saga teaches us that pain can either consume you or refine you. Thorfinn starts his journey driven by revenge, but his suffering forces him to question everything he believes in. Then we explore how loss and suffering creates the foundation for true self-discovery. Thorfinn's story reveals that when we stop running from pain and start understanding it, we can find a new sense of direction. Finally, we'll break down how embracing struggle can help you turn pain into purpose. Because at the end of the day, the hard things we go through aren't meant to break us, they're meant to build us. Now let's dive into the first major lesson of Vinland Saga teaches us about pain and see why suffering, when embracing the right way, can be the most powerful force for growth. How pain can either consume you or refine you. You won't believe this, but in Vinland Saga isn't just about Vikings and the epic battles. It's about the weight of pain and the choices we make because of it. The stories begin with young Thorfinn, a boy who idolizes his father, Thor, a legendary warrior who turns his back on violence. But everything changes when Thor is betrayed and killed before Thorfinn's eyes. The conflict here is brutal. Thorfinn's just a child and is suddenly thrown into a world where pain is his only companion and revenge is the only thing that keeps him moving forward. Watching him cling to this cycle of violence, hoping it would give his suffering meaning, reminds me of the times in my own life when I thought pushing through pain meant proving something to the world. Whether it was dealing with setbacks in my career, personal trials and betrayals, or moments when I felt like I had to fight just to be respected, I understood that the raw need to turn pain into power. But here's the truth. If you don't learn how to use pain, it will use you. Here's something that blew my mind. Thorfinn gets exactly what he wants, and it leaves him empty. After years of dedicating his life to revenge, training under his father's killing, Askeladd, and finally getting the chance to fight him, the moment is ripped away. Askeladd dies not by Thorfinn's hands, but through a political scheme he didn't see coming. The thing that defines Thorfinn's entire existence is gone in an instant. He kept his whole life believing that revenge would make the pain go away, only to be left with nothing but unbearable weight of regret. That hit home for me because I've chased things before, believing they would fill a void, only to realize they weren't even the answer, y'all. Whether it was proving myself in the Air Force or thinking success alone would heal my wounds, I've learned that you can't outrun pain. You have to face it. What's fascinating about this is that Thorfinn's real battle doesn't start until after he loses his purpose. Without revenge, he's forced to look at himself for the first time. He goes from a furious warrior to a broken man, a slave with no direction, and that's when the real transformation begins. Pain forces Thorfinn to become something new, not a warrior fueled by anger, but a man searching for a better way to live. This is something I had to learn the hard way. When I transitioned out of one phase of my life, whether it was moving to a new base, shifting careers, or leaving behind relationships that no longer served me, I had to rebuild my identity. And honestly, that process is uncomfortable. It strips you down, forces you to face the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. But if you allow yourself to grow from it, pain can refine you into something stronger, wiser, and more purposeful than ever before. Now that we see pain can consume you or force you to evolve, let's go even deeper and explore how Vinland Saga shows us that suffering is often the foundation of true self-discovery. How loss and suffering create the foundation for true self-discovery. Let me paint a picture for you. Thorfinn, once a warrior consumed by vengeance, is now a slave forced to work the land with nothing but his bare hands. This is the same boy who once wielded knives like an assassin, trained of the mercenaries, and lived for nothing but war. Now he's stripped of everything he thought made him strong. The conflict here is clear. If he's no longer a warrior, then who is he? He wrestles with this question, just as many of us do when life forces us into situations we never expected. I've been there too. There were moments in my career when I felt lost, wondering if I was still the same person when the role I identified with was taken away. But here's what Vinland Saga teaches us. Sometimes we have to lose who we thought we were to discover who we're truly meant to be. Here's the twist that you didn't see coming. Thorfinn, the boy who lived for combat, makes a vow to never harm another person again. He realizes that everything he believed about strength was wrong. And one of the most powerful moments in Vinland Saga, Thorfinn falls to his knees and begs forgiveness for all the people he's killed. This is the same character who spent years chasing war like it was the only thing that mattered. Crazy, huh? And now he wants to build something, not destroy it. That hit me hard because it reminded me of the moment that I realized that real strength isn't about proving yourself, it's about being at peace with yourself. I used to think that pushing through pain and fighting every battle was what made me strong. But the truth is, it takes even more strength to walk away from the battles that don't serve you anymore. I was taught by a very wise chief, don't die on every hill. Pick and choose your battles accordingly. And if it doesn't jive with you, guess what? Walk away from it. This is gonna sound wild, but Thorfinn's great transformation happened in silence. There's no grand battle, no final victory over an enemy, just a man who decides that his pain will not define him. Instead of continuing the cycle of violence, he commits himself to something bigger, building a land where no one had to suffer like he did. This moment in Vinland Saga is revolutionary because it challenges everything we think about strength. Strength isn't in the fight, it's in the choice to build instead of destroy. I had to learn this lesson myself. There were times in my life when I thought proving my worth meant fighting through every obstacle alone. What a bunch of. But the biggest growth moments came when I let go of that mindset and focused on something bigger than myself. And that's exactly what Thorfinn does. He turns his suffering into a mission that will outlive him. Now that we've seen how suffering isn't just something to endure, but something that can lead to transformation, let's take it even further and explore how Vinland Saga teaches us to turn pain into purpose. How embracing struggle can help you turn pain into purpose. Let me share something unexpected. Thorfinn doesn't just survive his suffering, he uses it to create something new. After years of war, enslavement, and search for meaning, he decides to build a land where peace is possible. This is the same person who once lived for nothing but revenge, and now he wants to create a world where no one has to experience what he went through. Admirable. The conflict here is powerful. How do you create something good in a world that seems designed for destruction? Thorfinn's journey reminds me of the moment in my life when I had to face whether to let my struggle define me or use them to push me forward. Guys, there were some times when I thought about giving up, when the weight of responsibilities and setbacks felt too heavy. But like Thorfinn, I realized the pain we go through isn't wasted if we turn it into something meaningful. What's even more amazing is that Thorfinn didn't do this alone. For years, he believed he had to carry his pain by himself. But his greatest transformation happened when he starts building relationships based on trust instead of revenge. He reconnects with his old friends, makes new alliances, and understands that his purpose isn't just about himself, it's about serving others. This hits home for me because I used to believe that success was something you had to achieve alone. But in reality, biggest growth happens when you surround yourself with the right people, when you stop seeing life as a battlefield and start seeing it as a place to build together. Vinland Saga teaches us that the strongest people aren't the ones who stand alone. They're the ones who lift others up with them. The craziest thing about this is that Thorfinn never gets a perfect ending. His journey is ongoing, just like others. Even after finding a new purpose, there are still challenges ahead. But that's the point, right? Life isn't about reaching a final destination where everything is easy. It's about continuously learning, growing, and adapting. This is something I've had to come to terms with in my own journey. My life ain't over. There's always something to learn. Whether it was moving from one phase of my life to another, learning from my mistakes, or finding out what truly matters to me, I realized that purpose isn't a place you arrive at. It's something you choose every single day. And that's the real lesson of Vinland Saga. Pain isn't the end story, it's the beginning of something greater. Now that we explored how pain can redefine us, transform us, and give us a greater purpose, let's bring it all together and see how these lessons apply to our own lives. Let me share something unexpected. Pain isn't just something to endure, it's something that can shape us into who we're meant to be. We saw how Thorfinn's pain consumed him, driving him into a cycle of revenge that ultimately left him empty. His story teaches us that if we do not control our pain, it will control us. Then we explore how suffering can lead to true self-discovery. When Thorfinn lost everything he thought that defined him, he had to confront the hard question. Who was he beyond revenge? That same question is one we all face at some time and some point in our lives. And finally, we broke down how embracing struggle can turn pain into purpose. Thorfinn's journey shows us that the hardest experiences in life can become the foundation for something meaningful. If we're willing to let go of the past, build something new, wow. With all these lessons on pain and growth and transformation, let's wrap things up with some final thoughts on how you can take these insights and apply them in your own life? Have you ever looked back on the hardest moments in your own life and realized that they shaped you into the person you are today? That's what Vinland Saga teaches us. We saw how pain can either consume us or refine us, just like it did Thorfinn when he let revenge define his life. Then we explored how loss and suffering forces us to discover who we really are, how hitting rock bottom can actually be the start of something greater. And we learned that purpose isn't something you find, it's something you build from your experiences, no matter how painful they've been. Thorfinn's story isn't just about war or survival. It's about growth, about choosing to transform your struggles into something meaningful. That's why I put in the work to break down these lessons for you, because I lived them and I know they can change the way you see your own journey. If this episode gave you something to think about, if it resonated with you, then make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to take these lessons even further, check out the links in the description for more ways to connect with the Zenroku community. At the end of the day, pain isn't the enemy, it's the catalyst. And if you're willing to embrace it, you just might find purpose on the other side. Until next time, keep seeking strength, embracing growth, and paying it forward with purpose. Peace, y'all.